We know that immigration is one of the main issues for the British people, yet it's an issue that much of the mainstream media tries to play down and ignore. Well, not on the Westminster News podcast. I've just spoken to Dr. Ben Greening of Migration Watch UK, who gives some fascinating insight into the reality of what is going on when it comes to immigration in Britain. If you want to listen to that interview now, head over to westminster.club. It's £10 a month. You get early access, you'll be getting exclusive shows, you'll be getting exclusive articles. Support us, help Westminster News podcast grow. Head over to westminster.club to hear the full interview, and you're going to want to hear it, guys. Some really interesting analysis. If you want to hear that now, westminster.club and become a supporter. Thanks a lot. Have a lovely day.
Lower immigration, essentially more carefully controlled immigration, would, in our view, lead to a better economy and a fairer society. It would mean that wages have more chance of rising. It would mean that we don't lose our green fields to overdevelopment, or we lose them at a slower pace at least, which is a good start. And we want to protect as much of our countryside as possible. Too often you don't hear the environmentalists talking about immigration with regard to the environment, because it's not fashionable to do so. But what we want to see is the views of the majority respected. We want to see pressure eased on our vital public services. We want to ensure that the population growth is stabilized at a sustainable level. That you asked me what level immigration would ideally be. There's a ONS population projection which shows that if net migration was reduced to below 100,000 as promised by the previous Conservative government, it would stop our population from hitting 70 million, which is what it is on course to do in a very short period of time now. So that would be a start. Bring the net migration level down to below 100,000. Now, it may do that as a result of the coronavirus crisis and the lockdown and the economic impact of all that. It may actually do that for a very short period, but the problem is that the government is now setting in place a blueprint which will affect immigration for the next few decades. And that blueprint has to be absolutely spot on. But the trouble is that the Home Office itself admits that this blueprint would lead to, or could lead, and these estimates are subject to a number of significant limitations, but they suggested that it could increase the number of workers and families by 15 to 50,000 a year, and a new graduate route for allowing students to work in unskilled work, for instance, would lead to a net rise in student immigration by 20 to 25,000 per year. We've also had a promise of a new route for people, up to 3 million people, to work and study here from Hong Kong and gain citizenship. Boris Johnson's also talked about expanding the youth mobility scheme, which allows young people 18 to 30 years old from the EU, which would allow young people 18 to 30 years old to come from the EU to work in jobs at any skill level, and that could lead to an increase in numbers too.